Was? Wir sind hier geboren? Klar.
Yes, I was born a few streets away.
A small world, is it not? Did you ever imagine that my mother was your neighbor all that time? That you could have met her in a dark alley at night?
You won't trick me twice, young lady. We both know Lady Ashbury never hunts or attacks prey at random.
Come on, Doctor. Don't tell me you never thought about that possibility. Her fangs on your neck. Oh, are you blushing, Dr. Reid?
Namra, da hätten wir es gerade wieder bei dem Dialog hier vom ich muss irgendwo reinbeißen.
Is there something that's bothering you?
Too much selfishness and individualism for my taste. Even when there was no epidemic.
Even if that's partly true, may I remind you that many charitable institutions are financed by the selfish and filthy rich.
I suppose you are right. But society must reform and renew itself, or we are all done for.
What are you doing out here?
You mean, what do I do outside at night, since I am a woman? Let me ask you a question, sir. Would you ask the same question of a man?
Actually, yes. I ask the same question to everyone who dares to go outside at night, considering the risks.
Well, if you must know, I campaign for the right to vote for all women. Why should I wait to the age of 30 years when men can vote at 21?
Sind Sie eine Suffragette? Was ist denn das? Kann man das essen?
Are you a suffragette then? Oh, you really are Elizabeth's girl. Without a doubt.
All adult women have the right to vote in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. But women here can't vote unless they are property owners.
No need to convince me, Miss Charlotte. I have shared your opinion for a long time.
Okay, das wird dann...
Before I met Emmeline Pankhurst.
Ah, okay. Da wären jetzt Englischkenntnisse wieder von Vorteil gewesen.
Too bad there aren't more men like you in the vicinity.
How are the locals reacting to your claims?
People here can't wait for a wall to be built to isolate the West End from the rest of town. That's how progressive they are. If this happens, Emily and I will blow it up.
Explosives are very dangerous, young lady. And who is this Emily?
She is my best friend, and a suffragette too. She was supposed to campaign with me tonight, but hasn't turned up.
Have you any reason to be worried about her?
Recently, Emily started to believe in... well, she got interested in vampires. I'm afraid she might be in trouble.
Let me guess. You spoke to her about us, didn't you? Despite your mother's warning. I think I should try to find your friend.
Oh, that would be top-notch. I can tell you where she might have gone. You have my thanks, Dr. Reid. And please, don't tell my mother.
Nein, wir sagen nichts deiner Mama. Ja, Skjor, die Aussage, da würde ich meine Hand nicht dafür ins Feuer legen.
Tell me about your adoption.
What do you want to know?
Who are your real parents?
Elizabeth Ashbury is my real mother. She raised me and has taken care of me all my life. I have no idea who my progenitors are or were.
Do you live with her?
I still spend a lot of time in my mother's mansion, but I have my own house now. I have a life to live, you see? And one day, I'll have my death to face.
Oh, sie hat ihr eigenes Haus. Oh.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
First, I was an orphan in the institution for girls she manages in the West End. When I was 10, she adopted me, and I have lived with her ever since.
Did you know she was a vampire when she picked you?
The correct word is Ekon, Doctor. And no, I had no idea why my mother only showed up at night. She told me everything when I turned 16, though I suspected the truth for a long time before that.
Okay, also hier mesmerisieren ist noch nicht drin bei ihr.
What exactly has your mother told you about me?
Your name and profession, obviously, and the mystery about your maker. I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your sister, sir. Mother says it was not your fault.
Does it not scare you to know what I am? What your mother is?
Why should it? My mother is the most compassionate woman. Must I be wary of her, Dr. Reid? Or you?
Quatsch. Niemals.
Of course not. You have nothing to fear from me.
Noch nicht.
Or your mother.
Good to know. And don't worry, my mother told me everything I need to know about vampire tricks, their nature as well as features.
Your mother is not like any other vampire I've met.
I believe she thinks the same about you, Dr. Reid.
So, Haufen Infos wieder. Und natürlich gehen wir jetzt ins Persönliche. Saug sie aus. Wir haben erst einen Hinweis. Das stimmt allerdings, Bali.
Do you know why Lady Ashbury chose you to become her daughter?
No, I don't. Each time I ask her that question, she smiles and says it's precisely because I dare to ask such questions.
Do you ever regret that she chose you?
Of course not. Though I often wonder if she adopted others before me. If so, where are they buried? How was it for them to pass through life with a never-aging mother?
Interessant.
Goodbye, Charlotte.
Wenn die Kinder älter werden als die Eltern oder die Mutter.
Been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
Ja, wir haben sie doch schon gesehen. Die ist in ihrer Residenz. So, natürlich gucke ich mich als erstes... Guck mal, hier haben wir nochmal einen Unbekannten. Genau, klopf, 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 lassen Sie keine... Ja, erinnert mich ein bisschen an der Sheldon. Penny, 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 Penny.
Good evening. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
Ich finde es aber trotzdem noch ein bisschen seltsam hier in dem Spiel, dass anscheinend England nicht zu Europa gehört.
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. The epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny, I didn't want to sound selfish.
So, und warum klopft er jetzt an fremde Türen?
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
So stimmt auch wieder Uwe. Den haben sie damals schon vorbereitet, ich sehe schon.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other. So many things have happened.
I'm your Venus.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Okay, was bist denn jetzt für ein Mann? Gab's Auge daheim?
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
Ja. Okay. Warum zum Dorftrottel? Sonst noch irgendwelche Hinweise? Nö.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Clarence, der schielende Löwe. Wer kennt ihn noch? So, wie weit geht denn hier dieser Nobelbezirk? Weil da gibt es ja, glaube ich, ganz schön viele zum Kennenlernen. Mal hier haben wir schon eine Quest. Hör auf. Oh, er ist krank. Er hat Migräne. Oh, echt ein Haufen. Und wo sind denn die alle? Na guck, hier ist jemand drin. Klopf, klopf, ich bin Doktor, ich komme einfach mal so rein. Plünder dein Haus und lese deine Briefe. Anwesen der Reid-Familie, das sind ja wir. Mein lieber Avery, wie ich Ihnen bereits vor Tagen mitgeteilt habe, muss ich England verlassen, wenn auch nur für ein paar Monate. Solange ich fort bin und bis mein Sohn nach London zurückkehrt, möchte ich, dass Sie sich gut um unser Haus kümmern. Oh, wir sind in unserem Elternhaus. Ich habe bereits die nötigen Arrangements getroffen, um Ihren Lohn zu erhöhen und Ihnen so lange weiter zu zahlen, wie Sie hier arbeiten. Sie haben mir versprochen, meine geliebte Frau zu beschützen und ihr bestmöglich zu dienen. Dafür möchte ich mich von ganzem Herzen bei Ihnen bedanken. Sollte ich nicht wiederkehren, haben einzig und allein Sie mein vollstes Vertrauen. Ihr innigster Freund Aubrey Reid. Alter, einen wunderschönen guten Abend. Wie geht's dir? Schön, dass du reinschaust. Und tolles Video, muss ich sagen. Echt geil gemacht mit der Musik, die passt perfekt zum Bildablauf. Also mega cool. So, wo gibt's hier was zum Looten? Hier, Schrank auf, alles meins. Ja, schon ein paar Tage krank, gestern und heute kickert's ganz hart. Ach du Scheiße, dann mal gute Besserung. So, was können wir hier noch so alles klauen? Mr. Avery, du putsch mal hier weiter. Ich gucke mich mal in meinem Haus um und beraub mich selber. Das sind aber viele Zimmer hier. Ja, guck mal, da ist Mama. Ein Unterschlupf. Ja, alle auffüllen. Okay, passt soweit, glaube ich. Boah, tolles Bett zum Skillen. Wir haben einen kleinen Schlüssel. Für was auch immer der gut sein soll. Ja, hier gehen wir wieder raus. Halt. Ich sollte mal was gegen Migräne herstellen. Ja, Kopfschmerzen. Migräne, geht da was? Jawohl. Dann können wir den einen nämlich schon heilen. So, und für was ist der kleine Schlüssel? Stimmt, für irgendeine Truhe. So, da ist unsere werte Frau Mutter, die interessiert uns aber nicht. Vielleicht für ein kleines Schlüsselloch. Nein, für diese Tür hier. Ist bestimmt hier Daddys Arbeitszimmer. Da durften wir als Kind nie rein, sonst haben wir Prügel bekommen. Aubrey Reids erster Brief. Mein lieber guter Sohn, er meint mich. Wenn du diesen Brief erhältst, wirst du 35 Jahre alt und ich werde schon lange fort sein. Ich fühle mich etwas töricht, dass ich dir einen Brief schreibe, den du erst in einigen Jahren lesen wirst. Ich habe lange mit mir gerungen, wie ich dir am besten schreibe, bis mir unsere Rätsel eingefallen sind, die ich mir für dich ausgedacht habe. Als du ein Junge warst, ach, wie du es geliebt hast, diese Rätsel zu lösen. Ich hielt es für eine gute Idee, dir ein letztes dieser Spiele vorzuschlagen. Es wird keine richtige Belohnung geben. Och, schade. Dieses Mal also keine Süßigkeiten oder exotischen Kostbarkeiten, wenn du es löst. Aber dafür gibt es für dich etwas wahrscheinlich Kostbareres. Die Wahrheit. Das ist mein einziger Versuch darzulegen, warum ich die Familie ohne Erklärung verließ. Wenn du den Grund wissen möchtest, spiele einfach mein kleines Spiel. Es ist einzig und allein deine Entscheidung, mein Sohn. Glaube mir, ich liebe dich. Ich verspreche, dass die Familie alles für mich war und immer noch ist. Ich erinnere mich daran, wie ich deine Schwester und dich zum ersten Mal in den Arm hielt. Meine Schätze, meine Juwelen. Immer wenn ich heimkam, erfüllte es mich mit solcher Freude, euch aufwachsen, spielen und lachen zu sehen. Ich hätte getötet, um euch zu beschützen. Mein Sohn, meine Tochter, meine Frau. Doch am Ende hat mich mein Schicksal eingeholt und ich musste eine schwierige Entscheidung treffen. Es fiel mir am schwersten, ohne ein Wort zu verschwinden. Ich tat es trotzdem und schon bald werde ich endgültig verschwunden sein. Ich bitte dich nicht um Vergebung, nur um Verständnis. Wenn du mehr erfahren möchtest, wirst du dich nur daran erinnern, wie glücklich wir damals waren. Wenn du meine nächste Nachricht finden möchtest, denke an das grüne Gras und die großen Bäume an den warmen Sonntagen. Dein dich liebender Vater, Reid. Ja, ab in den Park. Aber ich muss hier erstmal noch ein bisschen gucken. So, war das unser Vater? Mhm. Alles klar, Skjor, dann dir eine gute Nacht, schlaf gut und einen stressfreien Dienstag. So, wo war jetzt hier Mütterchen? Oh, mit Zylinder und Monokel, Mr. Unbekannt. Wo ist sie dann hier? Das war bestimmt das Zimmer unserer Schwester, weil da Blumen davor liegen.
Mother, good evening.
Jonathan, is it you? Where have you been, my prodigal son?
I'm right here, Mother. I'm finally home.
Yes, but this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now found. But where is your sister? Where is Mary?
Die ist wirklich tot.
She is gone, Mother.
I know she's gone. The question is, when will she return as you have? I miss my grandson so much. It's been days since their last visit.
Okay, wir haben auch noch einen Neffen.
Mother, do you know what's been going on in this area?
Not really. I don't go out much during
Wohin
the day.
ist sie denn gone?
I tend to get lost.
What do you mean you get lost? I hope you don't go outside alone.
Of
Guckt ein
course
bisschen
not.
böse.
When I go out, your father always comes with me, but he leaves me there sometimes, and I have trouble finding the way back.
Der Vater setzt sie aus. Okay, krass.
Have you returned to Whitechapel Cemetery since Mary's funeral?
I never want to go back to that awful place. Wait. I think I went back once. And you were there too. And Mary? No, that can't be true.
It was just a bad dream, Mother.
A nightmare, yes. Mary was so angry. I walked back home alone. If that kind
Auf alle Fälle, Pfälzer. Also die Cuts passen sehr gut, finde ich.
What would have happened?
Auf alle Fälle.
Do you need anything, Mother? Can I help you?
I just want you to stay with me, Jonathan. Your room is ready. I asked Avery to make your bed.
I'll stay as long as I can, I promise. Do you need anything else?
Just one thing. Stop staring at me like that. As much as I love you, it breaks my heart to look at those empty and dead eyes.
Na, toll. Ja, das Jahr ist ruckzuck rum, muss man schon sagen.
Painting.
Not recently. I have trouble focusing on my subject and my mind quickly drifts. It's the same thing when I try to write poetry.
I recently met a talented painter with an excellent technique. I wish you two could meet. I'm sure you'd like her.
I'd be glad to meet her. What is her name? Is she famous?
Ja klar ist sie
Is she
berühmt.
dead too?
She's not famous, and her name is of no importance. And yes, she's also dead.
The important thing is, I hope you two get along. If she ever fancies meeting your mother, I'd be glad to welcome her into my home.
Why do you say Mary is visiting you, Mother? You know that's impossible.
Why should it be? Are you not standing in front of me right now? Why should it be any different with your sister?
Okay, lebt unsere Schwester auch noch?
But Mary really is dead, Mother.
Yes. And are you not dead too? Isn't your father dead? And my grandson and my son-in-law, you're all gone. But you all still visit me from time to time.
Das ist eine merkwürdige Familie. Alle tot, aber doch nicht.
But I'm not dead, Mother. I'm really here, talking to you, trying not to cry.
Oh, it breaks my heart to have to tell you this. But of course you're dead, my darling boy. Just look at you, as pale as my Mary.
Das ist eine komische Familie, ganz ehrlich.
Father seems to have left me some documents. Some sort of treasure hunt game. Do you know anything about them?
No, Johnny. But your father always loved to write these little games for you when you were a boy. Don't you remember?
Nicht wirklich, aber ich glaube, wir werden gleich aufgeklärt.
I remember now. He used to post me these riddles, as though they were sent by a mysterious games master. I'd spend weeks trying to decipher them.
Your father was always so proud each time you found the answer. He was not just the serious doer banker everybody thought he was.
I was proud too. How could I forget that?
The important thing is that you remember it now. I'll tell your father the next time I see him. He'll be so happy.
Okay, die scheint echt sehr viele aus der Familie wiederzutreffen oder wiederzusehen.
Could Father have conceived some sort of final game for me before he left?
I really can't say, Johnny. Perhaps you should talk with Avery about that. He was your father's confidant, more than I.
Okay, sonst gibt's, glaube ich, nichts weiter.
Goodbye, Mother. Try to rest now.
Goodbye, son. Please come back soon.
Natürlich kommen wir zurück. Aber erst, wenn wir hier wieder ein bisschen looten können. So, jetzt quetschen wir natürlich unseren Bediensteten noch aus. Der war hier drin, glaube ich. Noch vorher das Wohnzimmer putzt. Ja, da ist er. Sonst noch was? Ja, nein.
Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan? I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, it's a miracle. We all thought you were... Oh, sir, your poor sister. What a tragedy.
I know, Avery. I know about my sister's murder.
Miss Reid expected you to return to assist with the funeral, right up until the last minute. Where have you been, Mr. Jonathan? We needed you here.
Naja, prinzipiell haben wir ja unsere Schwester jetzt zweimal getötet.
How is my mother?
Not well, I'm afraid, sir. Miss Reid is very fragile since the police brought her back home.
The police? What happened?
Miss Reid was found walking in the streets. She kept saying she had spoken with her son and daughter. She's resting now.
Naja, wir sind ja am Leben. Oder mehr oder weniger am Leben.
Has she received appropriate medical care?
I'm taking care of Miss Reid myself. Hospitals are so overwhelmed by the epidemic that they can only accept patients infected by influenza.
Perhaps we could arrange a short trip. Somewhere sunny, like France. She has always been very fond of France. I think leaving London could do her good.
I'm afraid Miss Reid is too frail for the moment. Recently, she started going out at night without remembering it. I have to watch her carefully.
Gab es zu der Zeit schon Flugzeuge? Oder haben die da alles mit Kutsche und Schiff gemacht? Keine Ahnung.
What is the situation in this part of town?
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family.
Your
Ja, oder
managed
Zeppeline oder
to
irgendwie sowas, ja.
as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and I've never met my nephews. I'll stay, sir.
I'm sorry I could not be here for Mary's funeral.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I, no one else attended your sister's funeral.
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I'm sorry.
UFO, genau. UFO, jawohl, I want to believe.
Dare to question your absence, Mr.
Ich bin der Pilot.
All I can say is that we missed you a great deal during these difficult days.
Ah, jetzt gibt's auch noch Vorwürfe hier.
I found an old letter written by my father and addressed to me. Do you know anything about it, Avery?
Your father wanted me to give you this letter for your 35th birthday, but you left for the war, and the letter remained in his office until tonight.
I realize now you knew my father better than I did. Do you know why he left, Avery? Did he ever speak to you about his departure?
No, sir. Mr. Reid was not exactly forthcoming. Perhaps this letter will give you the information you require.
Ja, wir müssen in den Park zu Bäumen, wo die Sonne geschienen hat.
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his family as long as I live.
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir. So my task is not over.
So eine Suchaktion stehen bei Mirage auch noch offen, eher nie. Also eigentlich bin ich auch nicht der Fan von solchen Quests. Ich hoffe, die werden auf der Minimap angezeigt oder auf der Map.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
Okay, versprochen.
Do you really think I don't take enough care of my mother, Avery?
Yes, I do, Mr. Jonathan.
You clearly have something more to say. Speak your mind, Avery.
I know you work hard to help the sick, but what will you do once the epidemic is over?
Ja, was machen wir denn? Ich bin mir unsicher, das ist nicht mein Zuhause. Wir pflegen Mama. Mein Zuhause ist hier.
My home is here, and I have nowhere else to go. But this house will need some improvements if I move here. Some radical changes.
That's good news. Whatever changes you have in mind, I'm sure we will find an arrangement that suits your mother also.
So. Okay, wir sind durch mit Informationen sammeln. Wie war das? Gibt es hier sonst noch einen Kranken? Nee, meiner Mutter geht's gut. Unserem Butler geht's gut. Unserem Kriegskollegen, dem geht's nicht so gut. Aber wir haben hier echt noch gut zu tun, was hier Dialoge angeht zumindest. Ach, die kennen wir schon. So, wer bist du? Mr. Zylinder? Hallo.
Good evening, sir. Please forgive me for disturbing you. I'm a doctor.
I never judge a man by his title, but by his attitude. And you are not disturbing me at all. I am Calhoun Russell, and I welcome you.
Well, I must admit it's good to receive a warm welcome for once. I'm Jonathan Reid.
Welcome, Dr. Reid. Welcome to my humble shop.